Jesse, who's Labour MP for Slough, and he's also Shadow Rail Minister as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Thanks for joining us. So, was it a surprise to you that your town was going to be moving into Tier 2 status?
No, we'd seen for quite a few weeks that the number of cases was going up, but in recent weeks, it really there was an alarming increase. And now we're at above 140 cases per 100,000. And there was a lot of community transition. When we were looking at the data, it was across all age groups, in particular the working age. So that was very, very concerning. And Slough, having previously been a hotspot for the virus in terms of a large number of deaths, and we've got a large number of key workers working within the constituency as well. People are either working in the care sector, health sector, at the airport, in catering and so on. So we could see that if we didn't do something very, very quickly, then the situation was getting out of control.
Okay, are you of the view that moving from Tier 1 into Tier 2, I think the essential big change in Tier 2, of course, is that you're going to have households mixing indoors. Pubs and bars still allowed to be open, but you can't have them mixing indoors, unless, of course, it's a working lunch, apparently, for business people. Are you convinced that that will make any difference to the spread of the virus, given that Manchester has basically been in that tier since August, and they've still seen rising infection rates?
Yeah, Julia, look, in terms of one, we need to control the community transmission. So that's what we're seeing a lot within households as well. So maybe that would do the trick. But the problem is that without an effective test and trace system, then no matter how many restrictions we place, the whole system will collapse. So that's where the crux of the problem is that when the Prime Minister promised that we're going to have this world-beating system by June, at the moment, unfortunately, less than 60% of the people who are contacted, they are being traced. And also the other problem is that if somebody goes for a test, for example, at the Slough Montum site, on average, just 15% of people who test for COVID at one of these sites is receiving their results within 24 hours. So sometimes there's a huge lag. So there's no point in placing restrictions if we do not have that world-beating test and trace system. So that's what I pressed the health minister on in our meeting yesterday as well. So is very, very important. And also, if we want people to be staying indoors and so on, then we need to support them effectively as well. And that's why we called on the government that if people are being put into that predicament, then we need to have a furlough scheme, as was the case previously, because otherwise people just will not stay at home.
And there is that extra money. I mean, but just finally, though, I mean, a lot of people say it's a bit rich. As a Labour MP, you're saying, oh, this is terrible for jobs and we need to do more. But you actually want a full lockdown. I mean, and that's going to do far more damage.
No, what we're calling for, Julia, is in terms of a circuit breaker, which was exactly... That's exactly what the SAGE Scientific Advisory Group for England also advised last month. We saw that when the government went late into lockdown, as happened in March, then we could not get a control of the virus. It became rampant, whereas countries, whether it's like South Korea, New Zealand, Germany and others, who went in hard, who went in early, actually saved more lives and their economy was a lot stronger.
South Korea didn't have a proper lockdown, though.
Well, they had a solid test and trace system in terms of wearing masks and others. But that's because of their entire.
Well, you just said
system.
that. You just said they went in hard with the lockdown. So which is it? They didn't.
That's in terms of New Zealand. They went in hard. They went in fast. And if we look at the measures that South Korea took, in essence, they went in hard because of the measures. And now what we're advocating is that a circuit breaker for 2 weeks, because we've got half term for the children, that this would have been the ideal time in order to do that.
What do you think happens at the end of your so-called circuit? You think do you genuinely believe that after 2 weeks, and why 2 weeks? I don't know. I think it got stretched to 3 at one point as well. After that time, suddenly everything's going to be different. Why do you think that?
Well, look, we need to get the virus under control.
No,
We
no,
need
no,
to
no,
protect,
don't, no,
we need to
no, no,
protect
no,
our
no.
NHS as
Tam,
well.
Tam,
So
Tam, Tam. I don't allow cabinet ministers to do that on my show. I'm not allowing a Labour front bencher to do it either.
no problems,
Those
Julia.
are
Yeah,
meaningless statements that mean absolutely nothing. We don't
they're
want to protect
definitely
the
not
NHS
meaningless.
anymore. We want to be kept alive. With the NHS job to protect us. Don't give me meaningless. Why do you think at the end of a 2-week or 3-week circuit breaker, as you call it, why do you think the virus will be under control? What is going to happen in that time that you think we're suddenly going to be fine?
Well, as we saw previously, that when we go into such a circuit breaker or a more of a controlled lockdown, then the number of cases falls down dramatically. And what we're saying that is that in that time, we need to get a control of the test and trace system. We need to get our house in order that
Okay.
we're going into the winter.
So you think no, but you think that genuinely in 2 or 3 weeks we've had 8 months to get test and trace working, and you think that in 2 or 3 weeks we will have test and trace working? Really? Do you really have that faith? I don't.
Well, look, we can but live in hope and faith, Julia. I mean, that's
So we'll just
so
shut
we've
down. We'll
got
just
to make
shut
sure
down
that
the
government
country in hope and
gets
faith.
its act in order.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, well, you've got a lot more hope and faith than I have. Tam Dessy, really appreciate you joining us. Labour MP for Slough and Shadow Rail Minister as well. 7:36 is the time. This is Talk Radio.